Welcome back, everybody. We're back here with Amau and Echo. You got Frankie, you got me, Jonah. We got some state championship week coming up for the Cruces Bulldogs. Shout out to the Bulldogs, Coach Lopez, and all of them for a dominating win. We'll get to that later, and we got some Mexico State sports coming up too. So um, we're gonna stick a little more to the Mexico State side a little bit this time
Yeah,
around,
little
even it
curveball.
out. But yeah, a little curveball. So it's gonna be fun. How you doing, Frankie?
Oh, I'm doing good. I don't like the hat you're wearing, but you don't get to wear it probably very often, so you do you.
That's why we're a little late today because I was watching that game. I was a little stressed out. I was a little stress eating, but I'm not going to say we're going to win the Super Bowl, but we're looking pretty good with a new defense.
Super Bowl
I said we're not.
playoffs. We're
I
about the
said we're not.
playoffs, brother. But we can't get too upset or talk too much crap about the Aggies coming back 21. What was it, 21-7 or was it 21-0 for the Aggie or for
21-0,
the
baby.
Cowboys? For the Cowboys, was it 21-0 or
Yeah,
21-7?
both were 21-0, Cowboys and
Okay.
Aggies.
Okay. So the same thing. So both, you can't say, oh, you got lucky, because I don't think it was luck. I think Dak Prescott is a really good quarterback. He's my fantasy football quarterback. So
Well, that
I
that's
know
what
what
me
it
and you
is
are.
over there, but whatever. But yeah, man, we're doing good. Getting ready for another episode. Appreciate everyone who's tuning in, everyone who is watching, wherever you might be. Yeah, we went live for a little bit. Nobody showed up. That's cool. We didn't really announce it much, but that's something that we can talk about towards the end as well. Um, I wanted to hop in here. Any intro for you, actually, Jonah? Anything happened to you this week?
No, I was with you most of the weekend, so you know,
I know we got to be busy, which was really cool. I
yeah,
I like going and checking out some of the local sports that were happening. Shout out to Gadsden for hosting us. Um, I mean, they were busy, but Sal Melendres, the JV basketball coach, he recognized us, came up and said hi. Um, so that was neat to just be there and see those kids kind of in person. It was close, so we'll get into it a little bit more. But for the most part, everyone is done with football. So let's do a quick little highlight here of the standings, how everything kind of stayed put. We'll skip through Cruces just because they're still playing, they're still doing their thing. So there's no recap left for them, or no recap yet, because they're still
yeah.
trying to write the story. They're still on the journey, baby. So that's really cool. But we had Cruces, Hobbs, Centennial, Carlsbad, Clovis, Alamogordo, and Oregon Mountain all in our district. Um, this is where the season ended for these folks here. So, Jonah, what pops out to you first things first here? Just let's do 2 through 7. What do you see from these guys?
Yeah, Hobbs is definitely I guess a shocker or a surprise to some, to me at least. I wish they would have put up more of a fight against Cleveland. Um, but Cleveland's Cleveland, bro. Like I think they
Yeah,
just kind of uh, sh- proved back to the state, I guess, that hey, we're the best team still. And I'm not. I know we're not supposed to mention the dogs right now, but at least it puts the dogs. They're the underdogs this week, so I think it's a better spot to be for them. But and then we got Centennial third. That was a switch up from last year with Hobbs and Centennial. But like I said, Hobbs. I watched the interview and Centennial was down. I think their starting running back, got hurt that game, so they had to adjust kind of on the fly, and that's kind of not the reason why they lost, but it was a setback. And then Carlsbad this year, there was that was pretty cool to see them. They competed more this year, finished off 6-6. And then we got Oregon Mountain, Alamogordo, Clovis. Um, all did better besides Oregon Mountain. I think Oregon Mountain is going to bounce back next year. Is it's just hard for them. It's hard for them to compete with Centennial and Cruces in that district. So no knock on them, but they're gonna be back. And I don't really know if their coach is coming back or what to deal with that. I've heard some rumors around that he might be stepping down, and so who knows? I don't know if they'll open up that or kind of just put the next man up for the one of the assistant coaches or whatnot. So it's exciting too. Maybe some changes coming to Oregon Mountain.
Yeah, it sounds like there might be some change there. And I was talking to one of my friends, and he said, "You guys don't talk about Oregon Mountain," and he's right. We don't talk much about Oregon Mountain. I think it's hard to put a spotlight where I think they were struggling. So I know that those kids try really hard. Uh, it is what it is. I hope that they continue to grow the program that they have. But
Yeah.
I wanted to actually point out to you here that from our district, we talk about the North being really competitive. We talk about the North being, where all the competition is at. Cruces and Las Cruces Bulldogs and the Hobbs Eagles were in the semifinals, and then Centennial was in a really close game for the quarterfinals to make it to the semifinals. So in our district alone, we were right there as far as the bracket went, where our top three were the top teams in the state. So whenever you talk about this area, when you talk about the strength of schedule, when you talk about coaches not executing right or whatnot, we are we're in a district where you have to play your absolute best every single game. And like you said, Centennial had injuries against Hobbs. That was an important game. That flips them over to being the number 2 seed for district at least, and that would have changed the seeding around where Centennial might have been the 3 or the 2 seed. Does the state give a little bit of leeway? Do they make sure that there's no Cruces teams on the opposite side of the brackets? Who knows? But Centennial was the got a bye, and they were literally the 3rd seed or the 3rd ranked team in district. So that's what popped out to me immediately. We joke around how I'm like warming up, and you're like, bro, the Carlsbad coach is going to say something because there's no warm ups. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really cool to see. But yeah, I think I just want to congratulate each and every one of these guys, these teams um, that were at the top, and know that the guys at the bottom, the goal next year is to get to the next level. So
Yeah.
the first step of that is to go up your district ranking. So shout out to them. Now let's do the same thing here for 5A. This is where, Mayfield, this is where Gadsden lives. This is where Santa Teresa. So there's a lot of southern teams here for us as well. Um,
And these
what
are
you think, Jonah?
finished records, right?
Yeah, the district and then
So they
overalls on the
updated.
right. But this is up to date from or Max Preps as
Okay.
of like 5 hours ago.
Yeah. No, yeah. Lovington was touchdown away from taking over that Artesia game, and Gadsden a few stops. They led 10-7 at halftime, a couple stops here and there, and they might have won that game as well. And then Goddard, I didn't realize that Goddard was up there. I think they lost to Lovington in the quarterfinals.
Hmm.
Uh, but like we said, we're surprised Mayfield and Deming got in. But look at all those other teams above them; they're pretty
Yeah.
much the rest of the bracket for 5A. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, if you look there, we just talked about 6A having some of the top schools. Artesia is Artesia and Roswell. There you go. That's our matchup. That's the state matchup for 5A in our district. So 1 and 2, they're going head to head. Lovington would have been there. They lost to Artesia, and then Gadsden lost to Roswell. So between our top 5, we made up the top 4 in the state. So I saw something on one of the Facebook communities for that you recommended me to. What is that? I want to make it.
oh, NMOT Sports, I believe.
Yeah. I joined that and I started looking at some of the comments, and somebody pointed out that the South across the board really represented the state tournament for starting at 2A all the way up 6-man, 8-man, all these different divisions that we have. The South really dominated. So that's really cool to see. I think there's a shift there
Hell
from
yeah, Dirty
really,
South!
say that one more time.
Hell yeah, Dirty South! Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
That's what we need. That's what we
I need to
need,
get better at
man.
not talking over you. That's on me.
No, it's okay. I had to
Hey,
yell.
Dirty South, here we go. New little toy right here. Dirty South.
Thanks, fans. Thanks, chat.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
those are the standings. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the seniors. Shout out to everyone who um, took some type of initiative, who was part of all these students and all of these student athletes' development, right? All the way starting from the time that they were playing pee wee, maybe it was flag football, whatever it was. There's so many people that touched these athletes' lives, and a lot of these guys are graduating, and so shout out to them. Very proud of them. And as we talked about with Coach McBroom last year, I think schools in general are trying to promote dual athletes, and they're trying to promote these kids playing multiple sports. So when we see these Artesia kids, these Roswell, Lovington, Gadsden, Cruces, Centennial, Mayfield, anywhere you go, and we're judging and we're talking about these kids, a lot of times what needs to be kept in mind when you're hearing us is that this might not even be their main sport. You know, I heard the Roswell kid is also a basketball player, right? So he's season starts next year. So all or next this week.
Yeah.
But all these kids that we're seeing, they're hopping into another sport, and we're talking about them in a way where we expect them to be, or what would be perceived as, we expect them to be professional athletes. They're not. Um, but they're successful here, and then they're going to go do track. They're going to go do baseball. They're going to go do basketball. So it's a goodbye, but it's early in the year, right? Where I think a lot of these athletes are just going to turn around and they're going to go compete in a different way. So shout out to them. Shout out for the football season wrapping up, and let's go in here to congratulating some of our future state champions. Someone's gonna, or some of the competitors. So we're actually gonna go and start off with Gadsden first. A tough loss there. We were at the game, like we mentioned. We were at the Sal. It was sold out. We looked around and it was completely sold out. Jonah, hit it, dog. What'd you see? What happened, dog?
Yeah. First of all, shout out to Anthony and the surrounding communities like Chamarino, Mesquite, all those, that drive in Gadsden's population. They showed out. I don't know the capacity of the Sal, but I want to say it was, what did we say? I think it was probably well over 1,000 people there, and it's such a small little area that it was full and it was loud. Roswell showed out too, so shout out to them for traveling that far. I saw that they had like a nice little. What are you laughing at?
Keep going.
What did I say?
No, it's not what you said. It's. I just remembered something. Keep going.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. He scared me. I was like, what did I say? They had like a nice little police escort from Roswell and all that. I saw them on their Twitter page. But besides that, the game it was pretty. It was a good game to start out. Gadsden really held their own against a really good, like I put, juggernaut Roswell team. I mean, their quarterback was what, Frankie, like 6'3", 6'4", maybe.
At least 6'3". When number 22 was on the when the running back came in there was a shorter guy on there. He looked like he was 7'2", but yeah, he's a tall kid. He was tall.
Yeah, I don't know if he was the Jeff Lynn, who's the head coach for Roswell. I don't know if it's his son or maybe they're related somehow because on X I follow Coach and he posts pretty frequently and he put a little shout out to their quarterback in the picture when he was younger. But all of them like go through that feeder system and they've just been there for so long that that coach has probably coached like generations of his family or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, but like we said, their linemen were pretty big. We saw a lot of movement on their part, and something that I don't know if I really noticed or maybe seen much, but like you said, they were rotating spots,
Yeah.
kind of just following. I think 74 or 72 it was. Who was probably one of their best blockers and the quickest off the ball. And then their backs were tiny. We got 22, I believe it was number 7, and maybe number 0. But they're quick, and Gatson, their arm tackles at some points weren't enough to bring them down. They would evade the tacklers and just kind of make moves in space. And a couple of times they coughed up the ball, which is really good on Gatson's part. You said those Anthony Mesquita kids that they're boxers, man. They were punching out the ball for sure.
Yep.
Um, at the end of the day, the second half, I think Roswell just might have had a nice little speech planned in their locker room, like, "Hey boys, like we've been here before. Let's turn it on right now," because that's what it looked like. But there's no disrespect to the Gadsden kids or Gadsden coaching staff. They did their best. You could tell they came out prepared. I think Roswell just kind of turned it on and made a little more adjustments to get their running game going. And when they passed, they made those big catches. And Gadsden kind of struggled in that area of passing and whatnot.
Yeah, I want to touch on how good Roswell is on the run offense. When you can run a very simple toss play and your guard is already out in front, at least at least horizontally already out in front of your running back, it's going to be really hard for you to be able to make an open field tackle, especially when you're asking a DB to do that. And so I don't know how to beat that. I mean, you have to have freak athletes. You have to have kids that are just incredibly fast to be able to beat just the scheme that Roswell had. Their ability to just pull the way they did, and to have kids, whether it was on the right side or the left side of the line, be able to just be out in front, man. You weren't getting these running backs really any contact with the defense until they're like 3-4 yards down the field.
Yeah.
Bro, how do you stop that? And the only thing that you can ask of your defense is just to is really just to get as much penetration as possible. But then you have a quarterback who is, 6'3", 6'4", who can see over the line. It was hard. There was a play there, second half, and it was a quick in, and the coach literally screams, "Throw it in the window."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they snap the ball, and the quarterback throws it in the window, and it was perfect. Like, hats off to what Roswell did. Nothing to take away from Gadsden and how they got there. Um, Coach Jumbo saying, they're so young that I think that they'll be back because they belong. But that Roswell team, they are so good. I loved watching that game. So it was rough to see the second half. They needed a turnover. That's what Gadsden was missing. But how do you do that when Roswell just kind of said they can't stop us and we're just going to run this ball? I think by the second half, there wasn't one play that went less than 5 yards. Wouldn't you agree?
That sounds about right. Right, to be honest. Um, and I still stick to what I said. I think if Gatson would have ran the ball and stuck to that and just kind of kept the offense, Roswell's offense off the field, I think they had more of a chance. I don't know if they'll win that game, but it would have been a lot closer. Um, Rios for Gaston was like we talked to each other about. He's a workhorse, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
he kept he won the ball.
Hmm.
And they had two other backs to complement that. But I mean, when
And he
he's
had a
running that
passing he
hard,
had a passing reception as well.
yeah, for a touchdown,
Yep.
and that was a good scramble on the quarterback's part for Gaston. I forget his name. Um, but yeah, he kind of just floated it over the defender to Rios, and Rios had good hands and walked into the end zone. But yeah, like there were some good plays on both teams' part. I was really impressed by Gadsden, to be honest, to kind of hang in there with Roswell, and um, they didn't back down. There was a couple times where their taller defensive ends on Roswell, would get in the face or kind of do some after play stuff with the Gadsden defenders, and Gadsden wouldn't back down. Those kids,
Yeah.
I think there's a flag called on Roswell a couple times for unsportsmanlike or something like that, and
There
so
was
the
one
second guy
flag
gets
that got
stopped.
picked up. There was one flag that didn't stick,
Oh,
and it
really?
changed the game. It really did.
Which one?
The holding call, it was like third quarter for sure. I can't remember how far along it was, but it was I think it was at that point 14-10. Um, but Coach Fascio lost his absolute mind.
Oh,
You
is that
remember
play?
that? And it was a
Yeah.
holding. And it looked like they picked it up. And the only reason why I think you would pick up a flag like that, that is the referee. That's the referee's call on the side. It was the referee on the Gadsden sideline that threw the flag.
Yeah,
The play was run on the opposite side of the field. The only reason that I would think, and it's not right. He picked it up because the play was already too far from the hold. That is ridiculous. That really changed the game. That was like a 40, maybe a 30 yard rush there. That really changed the game. From there, they scored a touchdown, and Gadsden just couldn't pick it up after that. Football's football, and you can't really dwell on that, but that was huge. That
yeah,
was a ridiculous call that really changed the trajectory of the game. Not to say Roswell would have just picked up those 30 yards in the next two or three plays, but that really changed. I think it was a second down, third down, and I don't think they were very close to a first down. So that changed big time.
yeah. I do remember. And I was hoping that maybe Coach Facio's little outburst would kind of like fuel the team and push them to kind of play a little harder. Not that it didn't, um, but yeah, he's a very passionate coach, and I like that he showed that fire. And
Yeah,
yeah, that there he was riding that ref all day, so that it is what it is at that point.
yeah, you have to. I remember uh, any coach at any level that I played at, they always said they told the players, you focus on the game, you leave the refs to me, right? So
Yeah.
when you see your coach in the middle of the field, and both coaches at Roswell as well, the head coach for Roswell was like at the logo midfield screaming at the referee. So both the referees, they're gonna get it. It's an intense game. But I thought that would have fired up, and I think it did fire up Gadsden a lot. But again, that Roswell team was gnarly, man. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to the season that they had. Yeah. Now let's hop on in here to some dogs, baby. Some dogs.
The big dogs, baby, the big dogs.
It got real quiet on the La Cueva side. I know we got a lot of hate mail from some of the La Cueva kids, some of the graduates and things like that, and we were like, un momento por favor, wait till next week, and sweated it a little bit, but then we got an interception, we got a pick six, started moving the ball a little bit, and it was real relaxed. Jonah, what'd you think about that game?
Yeah, shout out to senior defensive back Josiah Guiteres, I believe, who got that pick six for the dogs. Because right after that, we felt a little more comfortable to win that game. And Francisco Winikoff, both six receptions, 101 yards. Daniel Amato, I think, was well over 200 yards rushing with three touchdowns. That boy like averages three touchdowns a game. I don't know if that's right, but it sounds right because it's just wild how explosive he is. He does a good job following his blocks. He kind of has like a I forget that running back name from the Steelers way back. Well, Bell, I believe. Remember
Oh
Bell
yeah, yeah, Bell.
and
Yeah,
Le'Veon Bell,
Bell,
maybe.
Le'Veon. Yep.
Yeah, he kind of like is patient at times, and then he just burst. He burst out into the field. Like there's one where he kind of curved it around and just kind of walked the boundary. And I think he scored on that one. I think it was to kind of put him up like 30-7 or something like that. But it was a uh, all around great game again. A lot of people contributed. Miskis had a touchdown. Uh, Barunda had a big catch. Lopez had a couple in there, but even their backups, Gomez and I think Gallegos was the backup quarterback, had some action there at the end with some JV reps and getting some good
And
experience
moving the
at the end.
ball, and moving and scoring.
Yeah, and the defense obviously came up big. And I also want to shout out. I think his name is Romney. He plays basketball for Cruces as well, and I remember talking about him last year. He's one of their defensive ends, I believe, or one of their defensive linemen, and he's always he's always around the plays on the defensive side for the Dogs. So, like you said, there's a lot of kids that do multiple sports, and it's exciting when you see them like studs on like two sports and all that. So it was really exciting. I'm happy for Las Cruces, the community. I think we're all pumped to see them finally get up back to the state championship, and I hope they show out in Rio Rancho and just make it loud, make it a great experience.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. You have Cleveland, who also dominated against Hobbs, and they've seen each other already one time. Cruces
Week
being
four,
able to beat
baby.
them, and now for whatever reason, whatever the rules might, let's not get into it too much. But somehow Cruces owes Cleveland a game, so we're gonna Cruces, the number one seed, gets one home game in these playoffs, and they're doing it for the first time since 2016. And I'm really excited to see that game. I'm gonna try my best to make it. We'll see. And as coach said, what did he say? He's got three things. He's like, job's not finished. I love you guys. And the third one
And
was
gobble
gobble,
gobble, baby.
gobble, gobble, baby. That's so cool.
Hell yeah.
Some Thanksgiving football is awesome. It only gets colder. I hope it snows in Albuquerque. I hope it just gets nasty. It's just a memorable game for them. I It's always fun where I growing up seeing Cruces in state championships on a regular basis. Nothing like it of playing in the coldest weather possible. It makes you feel like you're actually playing an important game, and that's because it is. It's a state championship. Shout out to the coaches. We talked about it last week. They spent 3 hours on the first half looking at film and getting better, and they played a La Cueva team who scored more than 30 points in more than 5 or 6 of their games in the last previous in leading up to the end of the season. They were scoring 30 plus points a game, and they
Yeah.
scored 7 on the Dogs. That was a big response on how they figured out what happened from their previous game, and they're ready to go, man. 7 points on a team that is known for scoring. Give me Cruces. Give me Cruces.
Definitely. Of course, we're going against a different dog this time with Cleveland. Uh,
Yes, yes, but give
I'm
me Cruces.
yeah, I'm a little nervous for that, but it was nice to see. They don't the kids and the coaches don't care, but they backed us up with our talk,
Oh yeah,
uh, and it was really cool for them to kind of potentially pitch a shutout. I mean, they had that one run for a touchdown in the first quarter. Um, but yeah, La Cueva was on a 10-game win streak. They lost like their first 2 games or so to like an Arizona school, and I forget who else. Maybe Volcano Vista, and then they turned it on. So they weren't like schmucks,
yeah,
as some
yeah,
people would say. So, uh, but yeah, we'll see Cleveland. It's going to be an exciting game. Cleveland has a lot of athletes, some big boys on their both defensive offensive side, but so do we. So, we got those Cruces kids, like I said before, who want to win, who want to be there, and then of course I put on my story a nice little recap of them saying, uh, family on 3, state champs on 6, and it was nice to see that because like we said before, we're keeping that going, man. They're keeping that. That's gonna forever be a Cruces breakout chance or whatever you call it.
yeah. And I think it'll be nice. This will be Coach Lopez's first opportunity at a state championship too, right? And so he coached under Coach Miller for the longest time. The tradition he had created, where it's about time with that we see Coach Lopez be able to do that for that squad, for that school, and for everybody who watches, right? So it'll be fun, exciting time there. Now let's hop on in here. Let's move on over here. Like I said, it was going to be short. Jonas said it. That's it. The little curveball here. We're going right into NMSU basketball. Um, we are having, or actually, no, we're not. I messed up. This
Oh, high
is
school basketball. Let's
high
go.
school.
That's right.
I read my own headline wrong. That's what we got. That's what's happening right now. Okay. Yeah, high school basketball. High school basketball is tipping off this week. Obviously, a lot of times, when we had Isaiah, we had Steven on, and we shout out to Fat Crates where we got started. A lot of people thought we were a basketball podcast. Even more people thought we were an Oregon Mountain podcast. Now we're turning into a little bit more of a show, more of a production. But we're super excited. This is the second time going around. uh, to covering basketball season. So I'm more excited this year than I was last year, just because I got to know some of the coaches. I got to know how they coach some of the players. Names were hard for me, so I'm hyped for this. Jonah, any inside information on, what's happening? What's some of the buzz? Who should we be looking out for as top players in the district, or top teams in the district, and then hopefully some playoff appearances.
You definitely gotta keep eyes on Cruces this year. Those it seems like those kids have been there forever and just kind of waiting for their, I guess, senior year, junior year, upperclassmen years to kind of have everyone that they've planned on having. I think there's a kid called named Ben Walton who is I believe a junior, maybe a senior. But he didn't play last year, and he was on the JV squad, I believe, and probably because of some transfer rules or something. Not sure what the explanation was there, but I know a lot of people hit me up with like, wait to see them next year, and they were good last year. I mean, they
Yeah.
had Joseph Brisby, I think he's Brisby, and then his brother, forget his name, but he was a freshman last year, now a sophomore. And they got like Dominic Luttrell, who's their senior. They have a couple good seniors who have been there for a good while that know the system. And they had like their alumni game the other day where they played like they called them the Unks,
The Unks, I saw that. Yeah.
and there was like BJ West, who's not necessarily a Las Cruces alumni, but he's one of the former Aggie players, and the Kai Williams, I think Collins, Marcus Collins. There's like a lot of great athletes that have gone through the system, and we should have went to watch, but we had a busy Saturday already.
Yeah.
Um, but it seemed pretty cool, and to compete against that level of talent is really cool, for a good experience for them, and a good learning stuff to go forward when they get into season. And of course, we got Oregon Mountain with Coach McBroom. It's going to be a totally different team than we've seen in the past. They don't got Lenny Washington no more. They don't got uh, Ethan Coombs. They don't got a lot of their guys that were there for a long time under their old head coach as well. So it's really guys like, I think his name is Emmett McDaniel. We got Danner. A lot of kids that are having their first varsity experience
Mhm.
as seniors or juniors. But they also got some younger dudes that stepped up last year who had some playing time. So it's really, I think they're going to be up there as well, but it's going to be a little bit challenging, a more challenging year for them than in years past. Um, but we also got other teams.
I'm excited to see that Nathaniel West. Obviously, I'd known him for when he was just a boy, and he's growing into just the way he played last year. Uh, you know, he was a pest on defense, and not saying any of the kids weren't coachable, but you can definitely tell that maybe it was because of his youth and maybe some of the inexperience. But he did a really good job of making sure he was keeping an eye on what coach wanted him to do, and he really executed it well. So you can see now, hopefully, that experience he had on the court last year, uh, playing in a state tournament, missing it by one game, being able to play at the pit. That'll be an interesting one. And if you guys go back and watch the interview that we did with Coach McBroom in our later podcast, he talks about how he has to change up his style depending on how kids play and the size that he has and what their strengths are. And I think that's what the good coaches do. I think a lot of the coaches that Cruces has, not only for basketball but for football and baseball, that's what you're not recruiting players. You're not picking up kids to go to your school at a level where you can build around the style that you want to play. You have to figure out what kind of ball you're going to play with the kids you have, right? So it'll be interesting to see what that shift looks like. That goes for all the coaches, right? Not only for the guys but for the girls as well that we followed last year. Coach Selby being there forever for Cruces, Coach Abney, who we've done some work with for Centennial, Oregon Mountain. The girls struggled a little bit, so we'll see. This is going to be fun because it's going to be different styles, and it'll be neat to see.
Yeah, and then the player you're talking about, I think his last name's Pete. I don't think his name's. I think his number. I remember who you talked about, but
Yeah.
his last name is Pete. Just to kind of clarify that, but yeah, it's gonna be totally different than years past. So I'm excited. Like you said, we started off with basketball last year. People thought we were probably all basketball, but it's just they got a lot more games, a lot more action uh, throughout their season. So hopefully this year we make it back to the pit, baby, and we get to stay longer than 24 hours.
I'm just glad I got my refund because we got a whole
Oh
week.
yeah, I forgot about that.
We were like, before we even checked in, unfortunately, Coach Maya and his Mayfield girls lost. Our check in was at what, 4? And their
Yeah.
game was at 9. So we're sitting there like, dang, well, that's all we got. So we were able to get a refund for that. So shout out
Hey,
to
we made the most
Airbnb.
of it. We had some fun. So
Yeah. So now let's head into some NMSU sports. My bad. My apologies here. I'm only human. I'm only human. Jonah, you gave me an update here. Hopefully, you have some more information. All I saw was that our volleyball team fell. I saw that there was a couple seniors on there, so they were, posting their thank yous to NMSU. Shout out to those gals who finished up their season, and the Aggies. They lost in the Conference USA tournament.
yeah, it's been a struggle since we kind of moved to Conference USA. I want to say struggle. It's just different level of talent, different
Mhm.
level of competition. We got UTEP, who's the juggernaut. They actually lost as a number one seed to like the 8 seed in the quarterfinals or something like that. So I don't. They'll probably get an automatic bid, but um, yeah, they finished the season 14-16, 7-9 in conference, and 7-4 at home, which I thought was pretty cool. That um, I think NMSU Volleyball with Coach Michael Jordan always just defends their home court really well.
What a
And
name!
I know, dude. It's funny every time I go out there to the Aggie games and his like little name plaque for his parking space. I'm like, yeah, MJ lives here, baby, and he's also a goat here. So it's just wild. It's a
You
wild
seen that
name.
commercial where the guy he's like he makes a reservation and people just get so excited and like, "Oh, you're Michael Jordan."
I think I do remember that
You
one,
seen
but
that?
it'd be like that. Yeah, it'd be like that. But I just want to kind of go over some of the kind of leaders in their little categories. So for kills, we got Maggie Lightheart, who had 355 kills. Assist, Nellie Reese, who had 550 assists. Service aces, again Maggie Lightheart with 59. Digs, Michaela Martinez, 349. She led the team. Blocks, Kate Sinclair with 89, I believe. And so I just want to kind of shout out to them because, uh, they've always been really good. And like I said, they removed conferences and it got a little more difficult, but they're still always competing. You got to respect the effort and just the hard work that these girls put into. And shout out to the ladies for having a successful season. Hopefully next year we can be back and make some noise in the conference tournament. Hopefully get back to the NCAA tournament because that's where they belong.
That's where we belong. Don't matter what sport it is.
Hmm.
Anything else there for volleyball? Shout out to them.
No, sir.
So now let's get into a little comeback here. Little
Yay,
comeback.
yay.
Yes, sir. I told you. I want you to apologize to me right here live. We've been getting a lot of requests for apologies around here, but I want one. I want
hey,
one right now.
sorry guys, I gotta head out right now.
The Aggies did it. They had us in the first half, first quarter even. We're driving to the Gadsden game, and I'm watching. He's like, "Why are you even watching that? I'm exposing you right now." I'm sitting there watching the game, and Jonah is telling me not to, and I did turn it off after we went 21-0. And then special shout out to the Sal over at Gadsden because they kept updating us. They kept updating the crowd of what the score was for the Aggies, and it was like 21-14, 21-21, and just like slowly, I was like, let's go. So
Yeah,
the
that
Aggies figured it out.
Gaston was really devoted to the Mexico State game. I really
Yeah.
like that.
And everyone was cheering. I don't know. Gadsden. that Gadsden Independent School District might be bigger Aggie fans than Cruces itself. But I think also it's a lot more mixed because we're right in the middle, where I think a lot of the folks there are also UTEP fans. So it's a little bit more personal. I think the houses were a little bit more divided there. Maybe that's why, but there was a surprising amount of announcements about that Aggie game.
That's true. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
But yeah, no, I think the Aggies, they had their backup quarterback who I've mentioned shouldn't have played. Obviously, Fife gets hurt when they're playing Tennessee, so they kind of had to put him in there. Struggled at the beginning. There was some miscues. There were some things that were just they weren't firing on all cylinders for obvious reasons. It's hard to just go and put in a new quarterback, right? But they were able to come back and do well. And I know Jonah, you have a lot more stats for us
Yeah,
already now.
it's tough. I know I do. It's tough because what do we do about that situation? I guess Logan
Yeah,
Fife was hurt. I don't think they ever released information on why he didn't play, but I'm pretty sure he had a concussion or something like that. But Adam DeMonte just came out and balled out, dude. He started out pretty good actually. His first and second drive, I believe, were going well, and I think at the end of the second drive or maybe the third drive is when he had that kind of just heater ball and threw it off the I think PJ Johnson's head and then landed in
yeah,
UTEP's hands, and then the second turnover was him just kind of tangling his feet up on a kind of quick pitch to his right. He didn't really get the ball right away, and he fumbled it and ended up recovering. Down 21-0, and they just chipped away, like Coach Sanchez said. And he said that this team has always kind of had that mindset where it don't matter if we're down, we're just going to chip away. We're going to take it one play at a time. Because he's right. They've been on the other side of these games far too many times this year. And it was nice to get back uh, on the winning side and kind of be on the opposite side of things instead. And UTEP played good. Their head coach, Scotty Walden, I believe his name is, has energy. He has them hyped up like that. That whole UTEP team is just a different. They're different than years past, and it's makes things more exciting of when we do play them because who knows, we might not, we might go this decade without playing them again. I know
yep.
Frankie was pretty big on that the other day when we talked about it, but um, yeah, I thought the run game was really good. We had Callaway with like 60 something yards. Stanley had a big game with 107 or so. He actually had a big run towards the last drive and set us up in the red zone. Um, and then Rudinson is a El Paso native, and he had a big game too. He had like a 30 something yard run to set him up as the score, one of the scores before the game ended. So our run game showed up finally. It was nice to see. I still don't know about these little screen passes that Coach Yost calls. Um, it's just another extension of the run game, which is cool. But sometimes it's just I'd rather go have the quarterback, especially the guy like Demonte, who proved that he can throw on the run and throw in the middle of the field. Like, why can't we go vertical throws and just kind of air it out that way instead of going lateral? But it was really exciting to see. He's definitely a different quarterback than Fife. You saw him kind of more comfortable when he was under pressure, when he's
Hmm.
scrambling or stepping up in the pocket. He just showed more of a good demeanor, a confident demeanor. He took some good hits too, and he got up right away. I thought that was a positive to see. I think he can run a little better than the Fife as well, and I think he's a redshirt sophomore. So let's hope we can retain him because if we can win these next last game with him, like you said, it's hard because maybe other teams see him and want to take a chance. But I mean, 2 games is kind of a small sample size for a coach to look at, but we'll see. I hope we can we win this last game against Middle Tennessee and retain most of our roster, especially that defense with like Ezra Christensen was our defensive tackle, I believe, and our linebackers. I know. Shout out to our Zayden Davis, our Centennial alum, who had a couple of big plays. I think he had a tackle, and then he also had a fake punt where the Aggies snapped it directly to him, and he ran to the left, pitched it to their gunner, and he came out around and threw the ball for a first down. So that was a big play in the game to get us, I think, get our first score. So it was an exciting game, bro. Like it was a good way to end the rivalry for the time being. I think it was the 102nd meeting they've had, and like the announcer said on the ESPN Plus broadcast, these schedules that they make are made far in advance, like
Right.
probably maybe 2030, 2027, 2026. I don't know how that works, but I know they're made in advance, so we might not see another game with UTEP for quite a while because we thought they'd be in our conference, and just didn't work that way. So good luck to them because I don't know if they're going to be able to compete in Mountain West.
Yeah, that one also really irritates me. The fact that we last week beat UNM in basketball, and then this week we beat UTEP in football. And I mean, UTEP has 2 wins in football. And for whatever reason, the Aggies don't get into the Mountain West where we're competing with these teams. It's just frustrating to see that. It's that UTEP didn't have a vote on it. Obviously, they were trying to get voted in themselves. But uh, just for the sake of the a regional standpoint, it would just be so nice if UNM and UTEP were and NMSU were all in the same conference because
That
even if
makes
we
sense,
do get
right?
this game back, what's that? It,
I said it would make sense, right, for all three of us to be there.
it would make sense, but even like college football wise, last Saturday was rivalry week, and NMSU and UTEP is one of the oldest rivalries in the entire nation, and that game belongs being played on rivalry weekend forever. That is one of the bigger rivalries. Only one that you might want to change it up with is maybe an Aggie UNM game for a conference, at least a lead right now for championship because they have their own championships later on in a couple of weeks. But this was like so awesome when the Aggies finally were able to be in the same conference as UTEP, so we don't have this boring week 2 matchup where it's just a battle of I-10 that really doesn't mean anything. When you have rivalries playing in the same conference, it makes everything just so much more fun, and that's something that I'm gonna miss that we won't have for at least unless we end up going to Mountain West at some point. But other than that, we won't get it for another 5-6 years. So unfortunate, but now you could go on to that big conference knowing that we got the last dub. What you gonna do about it?
What you gonna do about it? And there was an attendance of like around 17,000, so I thought it was a good little turnout for a Saturday afternoon game and almost Thanksgiving week.
Mm-hmm.
The energy was there. I mean, it was a close game. TK King had that nice little toe tap at the end to secure the dub.
Yep.
Couple of good catches by Fapel. Um, it was just good. It was a nice to see an more even uh, Aggie team, that the team that we know that we started out with this year. We knew they could pull out some dubs, and who knows if we get that Liberty, Missouri's, uh, or Montana State. Is it Missouri or Montana State we played? It was Missouri, I think.
Montana State we lost to as well, but Missouri,
I think they're
um,
Missouri State.
Missouri State. You're right. Missouri State we lost. That was a late game loss there.
Yeah, and then
Um,
Liberty,
and then Liberty was a tough one. I'm trying to pull up the
and maybe even Kennesaw. If we win those three games, it's a totally different
yeah.
thing we're talking about here. But I did want to kind of discuss. I did some research last night, and I'm not gonna get our hopes up because like I got my hopes up right away. Um, but at times there's 72 bowl games. After the teams that don't get six, if they don't fill up the 72 bowl games, and there's not enough 6-win teams, they go down to the 5 and 7 teams. And if we get that fifth win next week, there's maybe a small chance we go bowling. I don't know. I'm just kind of, maybe Aggie fans can correct me, of course, if we put this clip on there and they're going to be all at me. But I'm going to say right now, maybe we have a chance. So you're saying there's a chance.
They're saying there's a chance.
Put your hands up, Las Cruces.
That'd be sick. I mean, hey, that's another reason why we need to go and pack Aggie Memorial, right? Because
Yeah.
that game is important. We're not done yet. We just beat UTEP. 17,000 is what we had at the Sun Bowl, but I think Aggie Memorial can get a little bit more packed. It is Thanksgiving weekend. families are in town, people who are from Cruces that live somewhere else, they're in town. Let's go pack Aggie Memorial Stadium. It's going to be cold. It's going to be exciting. We have a new quarterback, different look. Not to say that Fife maybe he does play. I mean, after we've seen what we did last week, maybe that's not. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I just think because he's not as mobile, our offensive line got bailed out a little bit more, and it is what it is. But
That's a good point.
let's get a big dub next week, and then you're saying there's a chance.
And then let's worry about that potential bull. So
Where do you want to go? What kind of? I mean,
anywhere,
I
baby.
guess it don't matter, right? Yeah,
We'll bring out the helmets and pads anywhere. You call me. We'll play football in the garage, man. Come on now. This is Aggie football.
that's a big garage. But yeah, no,
I
that's
have a
exciting.
shed.
I'm glad you brought that up because I had thought about it too, but it crossed my mind. But there is a chance for us to be able to make a bowl game.
Yeah,
Let's
and
get it.
I was trying to go dig in deep, brother. Like I was trying to go through the whole winning percentages, like find all the teams that were our record and who could potentially fill those spots. And it was they didn't update the system to probably tomorrow. One and two of my eyes hurt at 3 a.m. looking at all that stuff. So I was like, you know what, I gotta go to bed. I love the Aggies, but I need some rest. So
I
this is
was
what I do
asleep.
for you guys. Just saying, just saying.
Yeah, I was asleep by 3 a.m. That's crazy. But this guy right here, he's a nerd.
This guy, best in the country, best in New Mexico.
Best in the country. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right.
Trying to stay
And
humble,
then we
brother.
got the Aggies. They're rolling. We're feeling good. We're talking about basketball for high school. You know how they're getting started this week. We covered. I was a little bit worried game one. We didn't. We played well. I mean, we won, right? But you know, trying to figure things out. We only got two guys returning from last year. But shout out to Coach Hooten, who has now got us to a 4-0 start for the first time since 2011. So I don't know what you were doing back in 2011, but it's been a long time. It's been a really long time, and this is really exciting to see. We've beat UNM. Uh, we are heading into a really fun time of the season where everybody gets off of school, student section isn't as packed, but this is where we start getting into the dog days of basketball for college at least. So exciting to see that they're starting 4-0, and that's going to be a lot of fun covering moving forward.
Yes, sir. And the good thing is that, like we said kind of before, that this team is a lot more balanced than any of Hooten's teams that he's rolled out since he's been here. And just kind of give that as example, I believe Mims, who was a transfer from Idaho, had 17 points this last game against Samford. Uh, and he's, not our leading scorer. He's not Jamel Jones. Jamel Jones only had 10 points that game. And then Jalen Randall had 10 points. And Kyrie Mullen, who had 10 points as well. But he's someone that I've noticed at the football games. That boy can play linebacker or like a lineman position because he's thick. And
Hmm.
I haven't had a chance to go to a game in person. I've watched it on TV a couple times, but I would like to see him like in action, see him in action, because he's it kind of reminds me of like a young Shaq build. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, but it's a good sign to have all these players kind of scoring when the top guy isn't scoring. So we'll see. I think it's the start of the Cancun challenge. I think we play.
We play Tuesday. We play UC Irving,
Yeah, and then like Georgia Southern or Georgia State, I believe.
and that's in Vegas.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I'm seeing
Maybe the
here it's going to
girls
be at
play.
the Hard Rock Hotel. So that's oh no, that's Miami, right?
I don't know. Let me check too. Just
And then
bear with us.
obviously, just when we look on here, it's going to tell me the local time. So I'm not sure, but yeah, being Samford 81-72 on Friday, and then obviously 76-68 against UNM. But yeah, so they have two for sure games in that Cancun Invitational. and it's going to be UC Irving
And
Tuesday,
Georgia
November
State.
25th at 6:30, and then they're going to play Georgia State Wednesday, November 26th at 1 p.m. Wednesday, that's a day before Thanksgiving, so if you're not working, that's a game you can tune into. Uh, it's probably going to be on the ESPN app. There's nothing that I can see right now on like what channel, so ESPN will be the only way for you to be able to watch those games there. And then they're going to take a little break until December 2nd, and then they'll play South Alabama.
Yeah, I think it says Rivera Maya, Mexico is where they play for the next two games. That's what I see on mine. I don't know,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah, just this is just Google. Um, Shout out to
And
Hard
then
Rock for having a hotel in Mexico.
and then when you click the watch link, I hope this isn't right because I hate this when they play on this link. It's like Flow College link, which is kind of a shady stream. I don't know if ESPN Plus will pick up that, but maybe since it's over like another country, they have to do something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so somehow though, some way we'll watch that game. I'm sure our Aggie fans will keep us updated, or you can listen to the radio
Yep.
broadcast with Adam Young or Goat. And so, yeah, it's
I
gonna
absolutely
should be good.
love Adam Young, and he has such a good voice, man. Just a perfect
Let's
voice for the Aggies. What a guy.
let's talk about Adam Young a bit. I want to bring that up. I think that'd be a good little thing to talk about. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, talk about it.
I think Adam Young is really good at his job. Uh, I think that Corey Lucas, who's one of my ex coaches from, or former coaches from Centennial, uh, does the color right, the color
Color
part of it,
color
commentator.
commentary. Yeah,
Yeah, and just them together is always exciting. I mean, they had a great call on the UTEP Aggie game.
yeah,
I mean, NMSU used like all of Adams' voiceovers for their little highlight stuff, and rightfully so. Adam Young is. I think we're lucky to have him here, and I think he could very easily be one of a big school or big professional league team, whatever. They're broadcaster guy, so um, I know he has a little family here, and he's very loyal to New Mexico State. But I just hope the Aggie fans know that how lucky that we are to have someone at that potential, and hopefully moving forward that he can do all of the I don't know because they kind of rotate radio guys, and he also does ESPN for us whenever we do our home games. So it'd be nice to kind of have him as a full time guy, and maybe he'll freaking be a Hall of Famer here like Jack Nixon was.
yeah. I think he's a. I'm actually just reading right now. I just looked up his bio on the NMSU website. I mean,
Hmm.
he's still filling in for some of the Oklahoma Sooner broadcasts for like the sports TV that they have there. But what I didn't know about him is that he was originally from St. Louis, Missouri. And when he was 17, 18 years old, he was already doing the pregame shows on KSLG AM radio, which is in St.
Oh
Louis.
wow.
So he was covering and just talking sports since he was a teenager. And I don't know, just from like me doing some of the production stuff that we do now, just even like the audio and like the clarity that he has, whatever settings they're using for audio is awesome, where it just feels like Aggie sports, and you hear his voice, whether it's welcome back Las Cruces, New Mexico, or from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Just he has like what to me I is a great Las Cruces, a great New Mexico State feel to him. So shout
Yeah.
out to
Does
him,
this
man.
does it say where he graduated college from?
I keep reading this long enough. Uh,
Sorry, I had to make you research.
there's a quite a bit of information here. A lot of it I'm seeing just kind of skimming through. I don't see where he graduated. I don't I don't see where he graduated from. No.
That's okay. I also want to say like when I was with the NMSU Roundup as like a sports reporter, I would go to all of the baseball games, the women's games, but specifically the baseball. I think he kind of favors baseball games. But he was always so nice to me. Like the baseball facilities since then been amped up, like
Mm-hmm.
facility wise and all that. But so back then it was just kind of like the right booth, press booth was just kind of me and him in there, and he allowed me to be in there. Sometimes there's a whole production team that it kind of gets crowded, but he would always kind of he we didn't talk too much because I was a shy little guy, um, but he would always kind of like leave me my space to kind of work, and then he would always acknowledge me and ask me how I'm doing, and he even knew my name, and even Coach BG for Brian Green for the Aggies at that time, the head coach remembered my name too. So little stuff like that stands out to me and stands out should stand out to a lot of people. Just kind of shows you the kind of character Adam Young is. Like he knows and remembers and respects all the people of the team. I see him always saying like, "Thanks for a wonderful production," which kind of is a common thing for a broadcaster to say at the end of
Yeah.
their stuff, but he really means it. He knows how hard it is. I mean, I see him sometimes doing like women's basketball, and he's doing radio, and he's having to do the audio and do all this other stuff like that. He could probably easily have someone else do at a bigger stage, bigger campus or something like that. But I think he also just enjoys doing it. He does like the Rudy's barbecue coaches show. So that'd be a cool guest. Maybe one day we can have him on and just kind of tell us his story. Because he's an awesome guy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm glad we gave him his flowers. There's no, it's not like he's going anywhere, but it was cool to just pause and say that because um, I was thinking that today when I was watching the highlights and some of the edits that some of our great videographers that either are freelancers or working with NMSU, but they're using his stuff, and it's just like, man, this is a great voice to
Just
have.
sick.
So
Yeah.
shout out to him. Um, well, that's all we got, Jonah. Anything else that we missed? I think highlights. We're wrapping up here. You guys are sticking around. We see the analytics, and we can see that a lot of times people just see what they're looking at. But if you're still here, appreciate you, appreciate your love, appreciate the support. It does really help us as we start to try to grow and see some of those analytics when it comes to viewership hours. Those types of things all matter. So shout out to you guys. Um, and go to the games. You're watching here. You obviously like sports enough where you're sitting and listening to us talk. The Cruces state championship game on Saturday. We have the Cruce or the NMSU football team playing their last game. A lot of seniors out there that chose Las Cruces to be their home, and so to show them love for the last game, the last home game, and the last game for the regular season, hopefully a bowl game. But as far as Aggie Memorial, a lot of these seniors that did stick around the 4 years or chose to come and live out their dream here in Las Cruces, I think it's really important for us as a community to go and show support to these kids who chose to give their blood, sweat, and tears to a team that we love. So go and check out some of the games that are happening, and we appreciate you guys watching.
Yes, sir. That one went by quick. I just kind of felt we kind of just flow through that, I think. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Like I said before, it helps helps us grow in other areas. And one little subscription or one little like or one little comment means a lot to us. So
Yep.
don't be afraid to drop one of those and share something on social media. So yeah, appreciate you guys listening to
Yes,
us
sir.
again, and we'll see you soon, hopefully.
And on some of the little scroll thing that we had when we first got started, we were talking about how as some of the viewership goes up, subscriptions go up, we can unlock different features and different things that we can do to bring you guys different content. One thing that we started today, right before we did this episode, we went live on Instagram, and we were just kind of going through some of our walkthrough on how we structure this show that we're having, and being able to just hop on and be live where you guys can kind of see just our preparation. We talked about the flow and the structure of the show, some of the topics. If you ever feel like, hey, these guys are idiots, these guys aren't talking about the sport that I know much better than they do, hop on into our live and throw a little comment on there. Be nice, because if it starts getting crazy and a lot of people, we'll have to fix it, but we want to be able to open it up where, hey, somebody pointed this out right before the show, it's fresh on our mind and we can actually talk about it. That's where this show starts to be more than just some other news place that you see. Let's actually go in here and be able to spotlight athletics in the best way that we can. So that also supports us as well. Jonah, can I give a little quote before we end here?
Go for it.
I want to give a little quote that I saw this morning and woke up. I'm sure you've heard it, but it's nice to hear it again. And it's from the movie Pursuit of Happiness, and it's where he's talking to his son. They just played basketball, and the struggles that he's going through. He looks at him and he says, "Don't let anybody tell you you can't do anything. Not even me. You got a dream. You got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something? Go get it. Period. Go out there and
Amen,
get what you
brother.
want, guys."